Hello, this is Julia Child, and today I'm going to offer up a menu of techniques for having safe sex. But I think the first thing to do before we get started is to define exactly what safe sex is and how important it is for you to learn about it. Safe sex means taking responsibility for how we have sex. And in this day and age of human immunodeficiency virus, or HIV, and acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, or AIDS, we have to know what to do in order to prevent spreading the disease to others, as well as knowing what to do to prevent getting the disease in the first place. So how is HIV spread? Well, I can assure you it's not from licking the soufflé dish. There are silly rumors still going around that you can catch HIV and AIDS from drinking out of the same glass or sharing a lovely dish of creme brulee. But this is not so. The only way to catch HIV and AIDS is through the exchange of bodily fluids, such as sperm or blood. And of course the way to avoid this is to know when to say no to sex and avoid doing drugs, especially those drugs involving needles. Never share needles. And if you must have sex, always use a condom. For my demonstration today, I'm going to show you some of the things you can do with a condom and hopefully how to make it taste a little better. Now these techniques work well when having oral sex, and using one of my favorite flavorings will make it a truly delicious experience. So let's begin. To start with, you're going to need a penis. Now really any size works here. You can use the small, medium, or if you're a size queen, a large will do. But you can check out your local meat rack for the size that you prefer. Now, you can call me old-fashioned, but I always think it's better to get to know someone before jumping into bed with them. And what that means to me is that when I'm out with someone, or when you're out with someone, to introduce your new date to a friend, to a bartender. Tell someone where you're going. And if you sense danger, well, it's sort of like sniffing the air and realizing that your casserole is burning. Sometimes you've just got to 86 it. Trust your instincts and go with the way that you feel. So, for our purposes today, as I said, I'm going to demonstrate some techniques that work well for having oral sex. And just as a side note, you should know that if either you or your partner have any open cuts or sores, this might be a good indication to perhaps postpone having sex. But if you must carry on, at least make sure that the cut is well covered. We don't want blood getting all over now, do we? So, let's get on with our demonstration. To begin with, as I said, you need that penis, and since we don't have a live one here and now to help out, I have this, a lovely courgette. And afterward, we can cut it up and make a beautiful French stew called a ratatouille. And for those of you who don't know, a courgette is of course a zucchini. And the thought of that ratatouille is making me hungry already. Delicious. But let's get back to our demonstration. Now the first thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to cut off the bottom of this so that it stands up. And of course you won't need to do this with a real one now, will you? I sincerely hope not. If you do, you're in a bit of trouble. Now we'll just make this stand. There we go. Oh, beautiful. And then what we're going to do is cut off the tip. And of course, you're going out with a Jewish boyfriend. This has been done for you as well. But let's cut the tip off here. And there we go. We'll get rid of that. And now what you want to do is use a condom to cover this. And a condom, of course, is a safe sheathing. And it's sort of like, well, a sausage casing, and certainly comes in handy when you want to hide it. Yes. And the type of covering you want is a latex condom. And a latex condom is one that is strong and is less likely to break. Also, latex, unlike lambskin, is not porous. And it certainly stands up to the abuse that I've been told you gay boys give these things. So, let's begin. What we'll do is open our condom up, and now, on top of the lovely penis, what you want to use is a water-based lubricant. And in this case, I have KY, but really any will do. And you just put a little drop on the tip of the penis. Let's see if I can get a good drop out there. Now this is on the tip of the penis. It's going inside. And what you do, if you can see, is you roll the condom down a little bit so you get the idea. And then you stretch it over. And there. Isn't that beautiful? Here it's now on top of our lovely penis. And I think you can all see that. There we go. Alright. Now, let's talk about what to put on top of this, because the fun part is that you want to flavor it. Now, I know that for years I've been talking about using a little bit of fat, that a little butter won't kill you. But in this case it might. You see, fat breaks down latex. And if you use an oil-based or fat-based lubricant on a latex condom, it will break it down, it will rip and tear, and it won't do you any good at all. So, no fat. Now, under any other circumstances, say, making a lovely hollandaise sauce, I would advocate using fat. I would say go ahead and beat in a little bit more butter. But in the case of using a fat-based substance as a lubricant for safe sex, the answer is no. Don't do it. Of course, I remember long ago, when I was a young girl, there was no such thing as HIV and AIDS, and you could use a little bit of butter, maybe with some finely chopped herbs mixed in on top of a lovely naked penis. Ah, how I reminisce. But today, it's a totally different ball game. So heed my no-fat warning. Now, as for the flavors and toppings that you can use, I'm partial to the apricot glaze, and that's the one I'm going to show you. So here we're going to get out some lovely apricot jelly, and we're going to put in about a tablespoon, a good dollop or so. And we'll put that into our bowl, and we're going to add a little bit of water. Come with me into my kitchen, and just about a teaspoon or so of water. Now it is at this point that I would otherwise add a little bit of vermouth, or perhaps a sprinkling of kirsch. But this is alcohol, and alcohol is a drug, and drugs, as I've said, impede your judgment. So, no alcohol. Not tonight, Joe and Sabine. Because not only could you possibly do something unsafe in the heat of the moment, if that isn't bad enough, you could be plastered, and if it's 2 a.m., you could get into a cab and wind up in New Jersey. Unless, of course, you happen to live there. Yes. Well, back to our topic. What you want to do is to beat it up, to whip quite good. Oh my. Now, if the mixture is a little stiff at first, no pun intended, keep beating it. Because the more that you beat it, the softer it becomes, which is, well, sort of the opposite of the thing that's going on. And so we'll just beat, and oh, I'm shaking all over. And now what we do is just put a little drop on top of our lovely penis. And voila! There you have it, a lovely penis in a safe latex sheathing topped with a beautiful apricot glaze. And if a little bit should dribble down the sides, have no fear, because you're all alone in your bedroom, and no one can see you. At least I hope so. So, if you don't like apricot jelly, you can use other non-fat substances that you might like better. You can use, for example, blueberry jam is delicious. You could also try some honey, or perhaps some maple syrup topped with a sprinkling of coconut shredded on top. It's delicious. Also savory tastes such as good English mustard, or perhaps my favorite, which is Worcestershire. You could also perhaps use just some mashed up bananas or whatever fruit you have on hand. Be creative with it. And now, if you're going to use a condom for, say, licking an area with a wider surface, or to be perfectly blunt, a butthole, and that's called rimming, I believe, here is what you do. Again, you take your non-lubricated condom, and we'll open up another one, and you open it up. Again, you just follow your fingers, and you see that you can open it up. And now you take your trusted poultry shears. And how many chickens have I cut through with this? I can't begin to tell you. Really can't. And here we go. We cut sides of the penis. Cut the sides of the condom, rather. You don't want any cuts on the penis. And what you do is you open this up, and what you're making, I think you get the idea, is sort of a makeshift dental dam. And you see, you've got this beautiful area, and then you put this over the butthole, and you take out your trusted pastry brush, and you dip it in, you just brush a little bit on, and it'll make it taste so much better. Now, just to add a manufacturing note about condoms, there are people out there who are allergic to latex, and it's been a problem for them ever since this terrible epidemic began. But now there's good news. There are new condoms out there made of polyurethane. No, that's not my old high school chum. Polyurethane is a substance. It's once used to varnish furniture, now meant to seal a different type of wood, so to speak. And these new condoms are stronger than latex. They truly take abuse, and best of all, you actually can use oil-based substances with them. They won't break down just because you rubbed on a little bit of creme fraiche. And if you want to learn more about condoms, there are two useful websites. You can check out Trojan Condoms, and you can also check out Durex, that's D-U-R-E-X, and these are both .com. .com. Well, that's it for my demonstration today. I hope that you've learned a little bit of something about how to have safe sex. You know, it doesn't have to be dull. Try out the techniques that I've taught you today, and remember, always use a condom. Don't use drugs. Never share needles. This is Julia Child. Play safe.